right, folks. Dude, coming to you on, looks like a Tuesday. So we're back live 5x5. Hopefully you guys had a decent couple weeks. And unfortunately, I literally forgot. I forgot to do the podcast last week. I don't know what slipped my head, but for some reason, I was just like 10 something or something. I'm checking in with somebody on Facebook and they're like, dude, are you doing the podcast? And I'm like, potentially, probably not. So, all right, that's where we are with that one. I humbly apologize. I abased myself to you, and we'll move on from that one. But oh my stars and garters, I cannot begin to tell you the sheer and complete and absolute. Let's see. Let me find the. I got this one, sound guy. Give me 1 second here. The sheer and absolute
fatality.
Oh no! It's more like brutality. We're talking full on
fatality.
No, dude. It's brutality, not fake. Okay, brutality.
Oh my.
Yeah, George. I mean, it's getting freaking evil out there. We're talking about Joe Biden now grabbing a hold of, accosting, fondling, bringing it to the fold, as it were. Yeah, we're talking about him bringing Kamala. I'm not going to call her Kamala. I'm going to call her Kamala, okay? I'm from New York City. We abuse A's, okay? We just abuse A's. That's why we talk. We don't talk. We talk. We talk about dogs, all right? So anyway, Kamala has been foisted upon us as the potential VP in this mediocre mishmash of mediocrity. That's what the only way I can express it, man. Looking at what they got going on, wow. I mean, it is not good, not becoming. And it's something that pretty much is just bad juju. I mean, I am seeing nothing but complete and total. No, sound guy. No, I'm not seeing that at all. I'm seeing
fatality.
Well, there is that. I mean, that whole election process is probably going to be. Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah. It's not going to be good there. And let's just say Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, it's going to be Blow and Joe. Or Joe Blow, or just, yeah, it's creepy old guy and woman who utilized her primary sexual apparatus for trying to get a job. And to say that she has...
I've got balls of steel.
No, she does not have those. Has she has knee pads, okay? She's ready to just at any moment's notice. She's got a history, man. If you want to talk about Kamala Harris, she was screwing around with the married mayor, Willie Brown. So that's what gave her little in to the political fray. Barry K-Shawn, appreciate you coming on by, dude. Sorry about missing out on last week. I just literally slipped my head. So anyway, the way, shape, and form we're now looking at is she's now stated in a short article from the San Francisco Chronicle. I'm quoting something from the Gateway Pundit. And it says, a short article from the San Francisco Chronicle, Brown admitted to an extramarital affair and or to appointing Harris to 2 state commissions. So essentially, she to get into the political fray, and she's quoted as stating, "Yes, we did it. It was more than 20 years ago. Yes, I may have influenced her career. I may have he said, sorry. Yes, we dated." Willie was saying this. Yes, we dated more than 20 years ago. Yes, I may have influenced her career by appointing her to 2 state commissions when I was Assembly Speaker. Hang on a second. I got this one, sound guy. Yeah, that's pretty much what you could say is one of those illustrative things that states you are doing it. And I certainly, quote, and I certainly helped her with her first race for district attorney in San Francisco. I have also helped the careers of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Governor Gavin Newsom, Senator Dianne Feinstein, and a host of other politicians. Yeah, but you weren't. I got this one, sound guy. I got this one. I'm pretty sure that he wasn't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that wasn't going on when. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they weren't doing that. And of course, there was not other kinds of going on. Yeah, because in the back room, she was on her knees and yeah, there was some activities going on there. Anyway, so then also in the same article, it says San Francisco Weekly has reported on Kamala's affair with Willie Brown in 2003. Quote, if she could just get out from under this damn Willie Brown thing. Harris routinely tries to distance herself from her ex-squeeze, whom she hates even talking about. Yeah, because she got caught. The mere mention of the former liaison makes her shoulders tense, her hands clench, and her eyes narrow. She gets mad. Quote, I refuse, she says vehemently, quote, to design my campaign around criticizing Willie Brown for the sake of appearing to be independent when I have no doubt I'm independent of him, and that he would probably right now express some fright about the fact that he cannot control me. Wow. Beazle, Azel, Biatch. Anyway, she acknowledges that Brown is a, quote, albatross hanging around my neck, end quote. And fears of voters who would dislike him will ignore her candidacy, even as she dismisses such an act as an irrational. Quote, would it make sense if you're a Martian coming to Earth that the litmus test for public office is where a candidate is where the relationship is to Willie Brown? I don't think Martians really care who you do. I think they really probably more going, no, you're our buddies, you're our pals. We'll never do anything to hurt you. San Francisco voters tend to have long memories, and Brown himself is complicating Harris's attempts to shred him politically. He personally gave $500 to her campaign. Wow, man, hold him back. Personally gave $500 to her campaign, and a political consultant who worked on both the mayoral runs is raising money for Harris without her consent using a pitch letter signed by Brown. Harris denies asking the mayor to help for fundraising help and knows it gives her antagonists even more ammunition. I don't know. Do you think? Holy crap, man. And it's the other thing, too, is I've been going through Facebook, and it has been beyond, I mean, absolutely, totally, completely, and just blatantly obvious that the memes, or even on the first day, the very first day, are just brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. And I cannot even begin to tell you just how bad it is. But, man, I'll tell you what, if this is just day one for just the memes alone. That's
it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
Absolutely freaking brutal. Just brutal. Absolutely brutal. And then you see the competency of Joe Biden. He's really slipped a cog or two. And in the process of him going out and publicly appearing, he's becoming more nonsensical. I mean, Trump is this, prepared statements, he's good, or he's still able. Let's just say he has to, like, off the cuff and completely just, not screw it up and extemporaneously do things The aliens have sucked the brain matter right out of his cranium, and he is not doing it. So anyway, looking at the way, shape, and form, it is going to be a very, and I do mean exceedingly, very interesting occasion to see her running up against Donald Trump and, of course, Mike Pence and Joe Biden. And you got to understand the way it is, okay, folks? Here's how it is in its just most distilled essence. They know Biden, he's old, he's infirm, he's incompetent. His brain matter will not survive 4 years of the most stressful job on the planet. Now, the thing about it is you look at Donald Trump and they say he sleeps 3 to 4 hours a day. Dude was born for this gig. He's like, man, I got like the biggest PlayStation to play with right now, and it is cool. You give somebody that basically did that stuff on their own, and now you give them the entire playing field. Man, he is happy, and like a pig in poop, ready to just cock, lock, rock, and roll. No problem at all. I'm going to take a turn away from Kamala Harris, except for one last thing I want to instill upon you guys, and hopefully you have heard this just blatantly, smackingly obvious. Logan, appreciate you coming on by, dude. Smackingly obvious coming out of here about Kamala Harris. They're like, well, she's an African-American candidate. She's not African-American. Her mom is Indian. Like, we're talking guys from like India, oh, hello, please, can I help you? This, Indian, okay? Not like American Indian, Indian, like over around Pakistan kind of side. Yeah, those guys. So her mom is Indian. Her dad is Jamaican. That's not an African-American. Now, you guys know, obviously, that, Jamaica was basically fostered by, obviously, Africans being transported there and forming their own culture. Those guys now state they are Jamaicans. They are distinctly from that place. They've made their own culture. They have their own place. They have a very distinctly different culture. And that's the other thing, too, is I can remember island hopping on a couple of the cruises that I've done. Every island is different. Literally every island is different. I've been to Puerto Rico. I've been to Jamaica. I've been to Haiti twice. I've been to Cozumel, Mexico. It is an island. You can look it up. It is an island. I've obviously been to St. Martin. You just got to say it twice because it's just cool like that. It's got two sides, kind of like Haiti, where they have the DR on one side and Haiti on the other. Well, that's the way St. Martin is. You have the Dutch side, you have the French side. So you have Saint Martin and Saint Martin. So, and it's M-A-R-T-E-N and spellings. One is Saint and one is Sint. So S-I-N-T and one is Saint, S-A-I-N-T. So completely different things. Catch her on the ride, Red. Appreciate you coming on by, dude. Appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. And but that's the thing too, is also culturally, she is not an African American. She is also a duplicitous. I really want to go more into depth here, but let's just say that she is not a good VP candidate, and that's putting it mildly. Safe to say that Biden's not a good P candidate. So anyway, way, shape, and form, we're now looking at things, and just the honest, blatantly in your face, we can pretty much state and make known it is not going to be a pretty thing when it comes time for anybody to look at these guys and go, okay, which one's the most amount of, not going to be Kamala. And I'm not going to say Kamala. Kamala Harris. I'm from New York. That's how we use our A's. Kamala. Anyway, let me get out of that one. I don't know if you guys have seen this article yet, but this one is kind of a little bit from left field. And I hadn't even heard this one yet. But this one is interesting. Now, I don't know if you guys have happened to seen the video of the explosion in Beirut, but man, I got to tell you what, that is that was a explosion initiator style, really high explosion, like the likes of which that you normally don't see. Now, if you guys know your history, I'm going to need to look this up. So give me 1 second here. Give me my leave. But there is a very similar explosion that took place in the United States. And if you guys happen to be students of history, you know of which I speak. But there was an explosion that took place just after World War II. And it happened in 1947. And it happened in a place called Texas City, which is a port town around Galveston on obviously the Gulf side of Texas. And it is known as one of the deadliest industrial accidents in United States history and one of the history's largest non-nuclear explosions. Now, let me just break this down for you, just how big this explosion was. It was an industrial accident that occurred 16 April 1947 in the port city of Texas City in Galveston Bay. It detonated the cargo of the French registered vessel SS Grand Camp, which was docked at port and had about 2,300 tons or 2,100 metric tons of ammonium nitrate. It detonated and started a chain reaction of fire explosions. I'm looking this up on Wikipedia. Other ships, at least 581 people, including all but one member of the Texas City Fire Department. Now, let me put this in perspective for you. This explosion was so big, it threw a 2-ton, read like so what's that, 100 to 1,600 kilograms, something like that? Yeah, about 1,600 kilograms, or maybe 1,400 kilograms. A 2-ton anchor was thrown more than 1.6 miles, or almost 3K, almost 3 kilometers away when the Grand Camp exploded. A 2-ton anchor gone. Now, if you see this explosion ramping up and blowing up and doing its thing in Beirut, it is very similar in terms of like the after pictures. You see tons of videos now where you see people looking at it and the fire's going. You see things burning and crackling and what happened. And all of a sudden you see the explosion itself happen. Now, here's the dirty little secret about explosions. Conventional, fuel air, nuclear, any form of explosion will make a big kablooey. Now, the thing is, its big kablooey is its big kablooey. The shock wave that it throws out is moving at the same speed. Now, there's a dirty little secret if you guys know your history. This is going back a long-ass time. But when a major volcanic event happened like 120, 130 years ago, I forget which one it was, but, you know, something major happened. I forget what the actual event was. You know, dim, distant past kind of thing in my head. But the measuring stations for barometric pressure noted like everything is 33 hours, I think it was, or something. Or, you know, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe a little bit less than that. I forget what it actually was. But they noticed by looking at their gauges, it would flip. And it would shock wave of this event to circumvent the globe and go and smack it again. And smack it again. And smack it again. Of course, magnitude's reducing each time, but these measuring stations all around the world were going, yeah, we're getting like a blip every, you know, X amount of hours. What the hell's going on here? And it was the shock wave reverberating around the planet from this massive explosion. Now, the thing is that speed of that shock wave, I think, was about 1,000, 1,100, you know, feet per second, whatever it is, you know, 320 meters per second, whatever it is. So basically what it is, it's 700 some odd miles per hour. And that's as fast as it's ever going to go. Now, the thing about it is when this thing blew up into Beirut Harbor, you saw it, boof. I mean, it was like boof. And then, of course, if you guys know the movie Trinity and Beyond, where you saw, like, you know, the nuclear blast and, of course, the shock wave and everything blowing around and kicking back, it looked exactly like that when that harbor explosion took place. And you see the shock wave coming at them, and it literally is knocking everything off. You know, buildings just getting cleaned off, stuff flying everywhere. Then the shockwave hitting the people and basically sending them across the room until they got turned around and turning the camera back on the explosion scene again. Now, the thing about it is explosions and shockwaves, explosions happen at one speed. Shockwaves will never exceed the speed of the shockwave limit, which is like 740, 760 miles per hour, whatever it is. About 1,100 some odd feet per second, something like that. 330, 320 feet, you know, meters per second, something along those lines. That's as fast as it's ever going to go. And as soon as that thing popped and I saw that explosion, I was like, oh, yeah, that was more than just ammonium nitrate or whatever they say it was. Now, here's the reason why I'm going all roundy round and, long and drawn out here is there is now an Italian explosives expert who goes, the Beirut blast was a massive red cloud. It's indicative of lithium metal, which is a propellant in military missiles. Whoops. Just give me 1 second. I got to turn my fan on here. Get a little hot. All right, got my ceiling fan going now. Things good again. All right, so anyway, more than 100 people were killed and 4,000 were injured in this warehouse which exploded in a port in Beirut. They said tens of thousands took to the streets of Beirut, denouncing Iranian-backed Hezbollah terrorists and their leader, Hassan Nasrallah. And isn't that kind of interesting where you have the Chinese deal with stuff, and of course things are now popping and carrying on, of course the COVID virus, and it seems to be the best way to silence in some form of insurrection is you just blow something up, and you blow something up big. And the thing about it is now is these guys are like ready to start hanging their leaders. It's not just a little bit of, no, they're getting very, very seriously pissed. Excuse me 1 second. I'm going to go to the chat room here real quick here. Logan saying, same as when two ships collided just offshore of Halifax, Nova Scotia, back in the 30s, I believe. One ship was full of TNT. It exploded, took out half the town. Wow. Halifax, Nova Scotia, explosion in the 30s. Okay, I now got to look that one up. Let's see. 1930 Halifax. And I know how to spell Halifax because I've been there. You sure it was 1930? Let's say in the Halifax explosion, 1917. Yeah, it was 1917, dude. Let's see here. It was 6 December 1917. The SS Mont Blanc, a French cargo ship loaded with high explosives. Where's this guy? It sounds very familiar. Collided with the Norwegian vessel SS IMO in the Narrows, a strait connecting the upper Halifax harbor to the Bedford Basin. A fire aboard the French ship ignited her car. Approximately 2,000 people were killed in the blast. Debris fire collapsed buildings, and an estimated 9,000 were injured. The blast was the largest human-made explosion at the time, releasing an energy equivalent of 2.9 kilotons or TNT, or 12,000 gigajoules. Holy crap. All right, let me break one down for you guys. A joule of energy is, it doesn't really add a lot of weight to it. You're like, okay, this cartridge makes X amount of joules versus X amount of foot-pounds. 1,000,000 joules is easier to define like this. A passenger car, read like a family car, not like a small one, but say probably about like 1,500 kg. So basically 3,000 pounds. 3,000-pound car running into something at about 100 miles an hour, that's 1,000,000 joules. Now, 12,000 gigajoules, that is beyond and beyond and beyond. That's like you just shot like a couple million family cars moving at probably a couple thousand miles an hour at something. It's a heck of a pop, man. Oh, man. So they said nearly all the structures within 800 meters or half-mile radius, including the community of Richmond, which is obliterated. Pressure waves snapped trees, bent iron by the blast, wiped out the community of the MAQ First Nation, which lived in the Tough Cove area for generations. I don't know those guys. The Eskimos, the Indians, or somebody's. But yeah, that's yes. Number 2020 Argona IQOXE plant explosion, which is probably in Australia. No, I'm sorry, it's in Spain. Oh, it'd be Tarragona. You got to roll the R's. The Beirut explosion, which was 4 August 2020, explosion in a warehouse, allegedly. No, even Wikipedia is kind of playing fast and loose on that one. containing 2,750 tons or 330 short tons of ammonium nitrate occurred in the port of Beirut, Lebanon. The explosion generated a pressure wave that was felt more than 240 kilometers away, 150 miles. Wow. Initial estimates of the yield of the explosion range from hundreds of tons of equivalent to between 1 and 1.5 kilotons. At least 220 people were killed, more than 300,000 people. That is not a small bang whatsoever. Anyway, so looking at this thing, this Italian guy is now saying it looks sketch. It's the wrong color. Ammonium nitrate doesn't turn red on explosion. So basically, the guy was saying, believes that the ammo explosives depot was the epicenter of a massive August 4 blast, resulting in an orange cloud, which further confirms the existence of such a stock at the port. Now, if you're going to put something anywhere, you want to put it as far away from the population base as possible. That's actually a good idea. Only problem is, on the port, you're talking, there tends to be a lot of warehouses and other stuff that goes bang. Yeah, and then somebody else is like, I don't think that was the amount of ammonium nitrate, 2,750 tons in the port of Beirut, or that it was a firearms depot. Judging from the videos, it seems more like an explosion of an armament warehouse. Yeah. And the guy's Danilo Kopi. So it's the same guy continuing to talk there. Kopi believes the images of the Beirut explosion left several doubts as the initial official explanation of the blast. Wow. Okay. He says in there also, I don't believe that the ammonium nitrate theory for several reasons. First, the quantity. 2,700 tons would mean that somebody built an Olympic-sized swimming pool and filled it with that substance. It was more than that. It would seem far less nitropryl, which is essentially ammonium nitrate, in a warehouse than 2,750 tons. Conditions for typical bulk bag material storage in this place in the world, I wouldn't be surprised if it was there for 5 to 7 years there. Large quantity disappeared / stolen. The warehouse was over 100 meters long. It's not impossible to contain those quantities, and some documents prove that material was there for years. There should have been a catalyst because otherwise it would have all exploded together. Yeah. And then the ammonium nitrate, when it detonates, creates an unmistakable yellow cloud. In the Beirut blast, we witnessed a brick orange, dark red cloud. Instead of the evidence of an explosion, in addition to the white sphere that you see in the widen, which is air condensation by the sea, you typically see a brick orange column tending to dark red, typical of the participation of lithium. Man. This is sketch, folks. There's lots of stuff going on there. Lithium metal in the propellant for military missiles. I think there were armaments there. Kopi adds from high power lithium technology to the military. High power lithium primary cells offer a wide temperature range, -40 to plus 80 C, and up to 20 years of storage life with self discharge of 1% per year at room temperature. They can be routinely tested to ensure system readiness, promoting fewer duds when utilized in missile systems and other munitions. By combining the small cells in the various shapes and sizes, a battery pack can be made using off-the-shelf products, speeding up design times and reducing cost. And then also further, he says, between the first and second blast, it appears to be fireworks that are seen to crackle. Fireworks don't behave like that. They have some explosions, and the rest is cardboard plastic. Upon explosions preceded by whistles, absent in the video. Whoops. Kopi. This is like he's like counting down, and it's like tweet after tweet after tweet. I think that there was a first blast, which may have started as fire, where the ammo was stored. This then spread to the high explosive contained in the rockets or missiles. Whoops. Number 12. Confirmation of the site being a weapon depot. Al Arabiya. Initial information, the explosion occurred in a Hezbollah arms store in the Beirut port. And that was written in Arabic with a translation. Yeah. 13. Criticism against the Iran-backed Hezbollah following the Beirut explosion. Quote, the primary suspect is Hezbollah more than anyone else in the world because Hezbollah uses forts and other Lebanese government facilities in order to acquire weapons. Holy crap, man. This thing just became like a spy movie. Oh. So it was an ammonium nitrate. it was Hezbollah storing missile technology in the port, not telling anybody, and blowing the place to, hang on a sec. I got to find the appropriate word here. Okay, I know what to say. It was blowing it all to, yeah, it blew it all to it. And for them to say anything else is complete and total bull. It. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, man. This thing has taken a major turn. And I don't think that this guy is the only one saying this. I think there's also other people going, yeah, man, this kind of looked a little sketch. Yeah, it looked possibly maybe just a little bit different than what they say it was. Yeah. Wow. Those news priests, when you need them, breaking first on, not just anywhere, but here on Dude After Dark. Holy crap. I'm going to break out, gloss over, but I want to get into it for just a second here. Now, I'm not the one to produce this video, but you can find the video. If you wish me to, I will throw the link into the room and proceed thusly. But essentially what happened here is on YouTube. There is a Guns and Ammo channel. Obviously, Guns and Ammo, like Guns and Ammo magazine. Duh. It's easy. So anyway, looking at things as it is, these guys got the hold of a premium, and I do mean premium weapon system. They were firing, of all things, the Sig Sauer MCX. So Michael Charlie X-Ray, Mike Charlie X-Ray. Oh, yeah, Mike Charlie X-Ray. The Virtus. Oh, man, I think this does not roll off the tongue. VIRTUS, Virtus. Loaded with Hornady's 73 grain ELDM ammunition. Now, that sounds pretty standard, nothing crazy. 16-inch barrel with this kind of trick-looking forend on it. Probably some big honking scope on there. And it pretty much was just, it was a video. It's a shooting video. Oh, long-range tech. Shooting stuff with a 5.56. Oh, yeah, everybody does that. How far could you possibly reach? Well, the thing about it is they didn't just reach just a little bit. Ooh, no. They didn't just reach just a little bit. They were reaching out there. And I'm going to throw the link in the room for you guys right here on YouTube. So hopefully you guys now see it in the room. Hopefully it'll allow me to put it in the room. Hopefully you guys can see it in the room. If not, I'll probably do it as an afterthought. You guys can check it out for what it's worth. But essentially what these guys did was they were shooting at some ungodly distance. Now, here's the thing is I got to do a conversion here for my good friend Logan up in Canada because, you pretty much have to do these things because it's a little different. Inch barrel. So, not like a ridiculously competition length barrel, some mega shooting machine and blah, blah, blah. But this isn't a really nice rifle, okay? So they were shooting a target, man-sized steel target at 1,270 yards or 1,161 meters. So let's just break that down real fast into feet. That's 3,810 feet with an AR-15, 3/4 of a mile. Mile is 5,280. All right. So basically, you got this thing that's just insanely far off. So we're talking, closing in on a kilometer. We're talking some pretty dang good distance here. We're not talking a little bit here. Well, let's just see. Just how many kilometers are we talking here? It is 1.161 kilometers. So a kilometer, basically that's more than half a mile. Kilometer is 0.62 of a mile. So you're talking like 0.7 something of a mile. It's 3/4 of a mile. And here's the thing about it. They were doing it with a rifle that is really not what they consider a long distance gun. People shoot these long ass distances. They use like big 300 caliber magnums. They use like 50 BMG. They use like these really just esoterically hand-turned bullets. Ridiculous crew of like 20 guys, you know, they're okay. Well, this, that, and the other thing. We're going to basically figure like, you know, Coriolis effect, and we'll figure out like how the world's turning. And, you know, if you fart twice and hold your tongue the wrong way, you're going to miss the target and da-da-da-da-da-da. So all these things are coming into play. But here's the thing. The guy fired like 8 shots, I think, or something like that. Missed the target 4 times, hit the target 4 times. That is pretty freaking phenomenal when you think as the thing is the bullets at that distance only had like 122 foot-pounds left. Let's just do a little bit of looking at here real fast. Like your standard 22 long rifle cartridge specs. Let's see. Your standard 22 long rifle cartridge specs. And let's just say foot-pounds, just to keep it technical here. It normally has about 140 at the muzzle. That thing will still kill you, man. That bullet will still kill you at 3/4 of a mile, and they were hitting a man-sized target. Bink, bink, bink. That's impressive tech, man. And that's the other thing that's kind of cool, too, is, yeah, okay, they were using a really good rifle. Yeah, they're using really good ammunition. But you know what? That's the kind of stuff that gives you pause when you start thinking about, like, you know, oh, I'll just pop these off at an angle, not think twice about it. Stuff flies a long, honking distance. Just give me 1 second here. It's like this one story I remember I read years and years and years ago in an old Reader's Digest. They had this girl driving along, and she was driving along one of the major roadways. Like, you know, I forget what the actual roadways are. It was in New York or something, but there was like a harbor nearby or like an open basin of water. And she's driving along. And the guy looks over and is like, yeah, she's cute, whatever. And he's kind of like, she's driving along. And the guy happened to be a cop. So he sees her driving, and then she starts like meandering off, and he's like, oh, she's taking the exit ramp. Well, she didn't. She like ran off and hit the guardrail and crashed. So he's like, wow, crap. Then we go render aid here. So he goes running over, opens the door, and she's just like slumped. It's like, what the hell, man? What's going on? So basically pulled her out, you know, checked her over, found out no heartbeat or anything, gave her CPR, you know, at the time, obviously. Out there. They tried to transport her, tried to revive her, dead duck. They couldn't find anything wrong with her. Just dead. And they were like, wow, she's too young. She, you know, this never should have happened like this. Obviously, the crash didn't kill her. Wasn't that bad a crash. And so then the autopsy happens. And they're looking her over, and they're like, you know, fine-tooth combing her body. And they're like, there's no reason why in the world why this person should be dead. What the heck's going on here? And they're looking around, and they're looking around, and looking around. And inside, behind her ear and her hair, she had taken a 22 bullet. And it was a complete, total fluke shot from hell. Supposedly what it was, there was a guy out in the middle of the bay, a good distance off, and he was shooting at fish. And he basically popped the shot off. And you can ask anybody about the 22 in water. 22s will ricochet off water just like steel plate, man. It is just going to gone. And, you know, that's exactly how it works. They don't always go plunk and in. They will ricochet a good majority of the time. So it's a never to be duplicated shot that was just one of those unfortunate incidents where the guy bounced around off the harbor, and it went along, missed a bunch of other stuff, went along, glanced off the window edge of the car and caught her behind the ear. And it is never, ever to be duplicated again. It was an absolute fluke shot, and it was considered an absolute accident. And I mean, how do you blame the guy for, you know, basically shooting a girl from like, you know, a mile or so away in the middle of the water? It's one of those unfortunate things that seems to have happened, but it was one of those absolute fluky things where basically a 22 round of, you know, just had enough energy to travel that far, of course, after ricocheting. So the bullet was unstable to begin with, ricocheting that far, glance off a piece of glass and penetrate the person's head enough to kill them. Absolute fluky stuff. So 122 foot-pounds at, you know, 1,270 yards, 1,100 plus meters, it'll kill you. It'll definitely kill you. You got to be careful about stuff like that. Let me scroll. Facebook, even though I can't use Facebook. How many more days do I have left on Facebook? I'm curious. Let's see. How many more days do I have left before I'm allowed to post stuff on Facebook? Oh, 11 days. 11 days. And the reason why I can't post on Facebook for 11 days is there is a picture. And I'm going to give you guys a little hint on how Facebook works. Facebook has what they refer to as crawlers. A crawler is an algorithm that basically fine-tunes the internet, finds pictures and whatnot, and saves thumbnails of them or saves a metadata on the information on the picture or the entry or whatever it is. And, it says, okay, this is something to look out for. If it pops up again, we know what it is. So anyway, the way, shape, and form essentially on this picture is this picture's been bouncing around the internet for, they say like 2013 or something. And it was posted up there by some guy on Twitter who happened to be a black dude. It's like, oh, this is white privilege. Look what this guy's doing. And it's an older white guy who looks like scary looks like Chuck Schumer. I mean, scary looks like Chuck Schumer. And it's funny, too, because Snopes is like, no, that's not Chuck Schumer because he's got a birthmark or like a mole or like some other discoloration. It's not him. But the guy that looks like Chuck Schumer is sitting on a bench. There's obviously like a beer or something behind him from like the local area. Obviously, it's a beer or something, some island nation or Africa or someplace like that. Grass huts kind of a thing looking. And so the guy's sitting there, and at about head level to him, he's ducking down a little bit. He is sucking face with a small black child. Now, the story is essentially this is a grandfather kissing his granddaughter. Well, for an adult to be kissing a child on the lips like that, one, looks kind of creepy. For number two, the explanation is it's a white guy kissing a very not light skin, a little bit of because you're talking like second generation in, the skin tone gets lessened when they mix it up with different races. And I'm just being honest here because, that's just the way it is. And so essentially that picture has been quote unquote debunked by Snopes because Snopes is always like much beholden to the Democrats. They're going to suck up to them and do everything they need to do to protect them and all the good stuff like that there. So anyway, the way, shape, and form now essentially is that picture has been made verboten on Facebook. And I posted it up there and I'm like, is this Chuck Schumer sucking face with a kid? And they were like, that's not allowed. Hey, whoa, yeah, that's not allowed. And they dinged me and they said it was for the reason of, and I love this. They're now doing this one to great extent. Your post did not follow our community standards on nudity or sexual activity. There is no sexual activity taking place. It's an adult kissing a small child. And if I showed you guys the picture, you can find the picture online. It's really, really not hard. You basically just Google and you look for Chuck Schumer kissing kid. It's that simple. Trust me, folks. It is just that simple. So essentially, that picture was enough that they said on July 23, you're out of here, man. You get your 30 days. And to that, I say, this has happened to me so many times. I literally feel like Steve McQueen in The Great Escape, and I'm the cooler king. I just walk in there and I'll get my baseball and I'll keep bouncing it off the wall. I'll keep bouncing the baseball off the wall and driving them nuts. Well, fluke shot. Sorry to hear about the girl. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is also that picture's been floating around, and now, of course, all this. There's a lot of information floating around out there that's really not good information, and there's also a lot of information out there floating around about potential proprietors on the island. All this stuff's floating. And I'm not a huge conspiracy person. I really don't get into that stuff. But you know what? If you're a member of that group of people and that cadre of people that are doing that to kids and you're fostering that kind of crap, you're a problem. You're really, really a problem. And if nothing else, you're doing it to somebody that really is not mature enough to say yes, no, up, down, whatever. And especially if you're doing it to somebody who happens to be so young that they really are physically damaged in the process, that's really, really wrong. I mean, anytime that you're doing anything with anybody, it should be on same level, and it should be like both parties saying, yeah, man, let's rock. This is good stuff. pedophilia is just bad juju, man. There's just no way around it. Anybody that I don't know how anybody can say, "Yo, this is defensible. This is a lifestyle choice." It is not a lifestyle choice when you basically utilize an innocent for something that they would never truly say yes or no to because they're not knowledgeable in it. Let's see. Haha, Jazz Zuckerberg, if he'd still be there when you got the cooler. You're talking about the commandant. Don't salute him. He's not to be saluted. Oh yeah, I love that. I love that movie. He's like walking by the new commandant, like, "How you doing?" The guy goes in, grabs his ball and glove and throws it to him. Here you go. I love that movie. For if nothing else, that whole scene where it's like, yeah, I'm the prisoner. I'm in your prison, but you know what? I own you. That movie's just great in that one regard, man. That is just absolutely classic. Steve McQueen staring down the German dude going, "How you doing?" It's just good stuff. So anyway, looking at other stuff, I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of things I really can't post on Facebook at the moment, and of course, I'm now being curtailed in that sense. But I cannot begin to tell you just how much it's going to be an amazingly just brutal. I mean, absolutely freaking brutal. This is like day one, and I've been shooting Mrs. Dude so many memes, and I do mean like so many memes, like like the whole Biden thing where he basically had like his circle with like Joe is for us or something, and now it's like Joe and the hoe. Wow. The memes are already out there, and I cannot begin to do them anything but some amount of credence. It was like, the other one was like, you basically have like the game show board where it's like, you see like W space LL G space V space F space R space C space M space NT. And it's like, she's like, "Will not vote for impeachment." And then it's like, it looks, it lines up and flips over and it says, "Will give head for advancement." Oh man. It's gonna be so brutal, man. It's just gonna be so brutal. Quid pro Joe, Willie Brown's hoe 2020. Kamala was all kinds of like fake ads. My word, it is just gonna be. It's going to be amazing. I mean, that's all I really got to say about it. Even so much as saying like, Barack throwing his 2 cents into it. Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Obama with the blue check mark on Twitter at Barack Obama. I've known Senator Kamala. What's the job, dude? Staying on her knees? She's spent her career defending our Constitution, fighting for folks that need a fair shake. This is good for our country. Now let's go win this thing. Okay, she's willing to give claim and credence to say that she is an African American. If you look up her history, she put more black people in jail for smoking weed than just about anybody in California. Brutal. And I'm really just getting tired about talking about her. But, man, I'll tell you what. The memes are going to be freaking brutal. And that's just the first day. It's not going to burn out. It's not going to burn out. It's going to keep going. And it's just going to get better and 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 better. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Wow. 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 It's going to get bad. And I don't mean for us. It's going to get bad for those people who are trying to posit the false notion that they are those guys who are higher in regard than we are. I mean, watching, Dan Bongino earlier, he had a video he posted up, and it was Chuck Schumer going on about things. And it's like, well, we try to work with the Republicans. They wouldn't work with us and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, so Trump did the executive order and gave something. Well, you guys gave nothing. Well, isn't that better than nothing. I said what I said, and that's what I said. Schumer and Pelosi are freaking losing it. I cannot begin to tell you how flustered they are because Donald Trump does not play fair at all. They're playing checkers. He's playing chess, and he's going, okay, you're not going to give me what I want. The Republicans aren't going to agree to doing anything. You guys aren't going to agree to do anything with anybody. You're basically going to jack, each other off underneath the chairs. Not going to do anything for anybody except to try to make yourself look good for the next election. Of course, suffering Trump derangement syndrome. It's old. Do your freaking job. If you don't want to do your freaking job, go home. You're old, okay? Between Pelosi and between Schumer, those two old a-holes have been in office closing in on 80 years. Biden has been in public office in excess of 40 years. They've been complaining about fixing everything that hasn't been fixed because of the Republicans. You a-holes have been in there so freaking long. Why didn't you fix it? It's old, it's tired, and it's trite to say that politicians are trying to fix anything because they are not. Just like diapers, politicians got to be changed for exactly the same reason. They get too full of, where's my favorite noise right now? Yeah, they get too full of it. They get too full of it. And you know what I mean? I mean, hit. They get too full of it. Too full of it. Way too full of it. Yeah, that too. They get too full of that. So anyway, looking at things as it is for the rest of the presidential election process. Blow it out their ass. Yep. Blow it out their ass. Anyway, so these guys are going to be consistently consistent. Nothing but consistent. It's not going to change up. They're not going to do anything different. So you have to boot them out unceremoniously. There's just no other way around it. You have to kick them out. There's no reason in the world why we need to continue to deal with their theater of the stupid. It's old and tired and trite. If nothing else, they need to get out of there. I mean, there's no reason in the world why these guys should or because they die in office. What do they have? Oh, it's a long, illustrious political career. It is not a long and illustrious for anything. You guys have done nothing. You produced nothing. You probably have never, ever had a job in private industry. You have produced nothing. You've been societal leeches sucking off the tit of the public man and basically riding on the backs of everybody that pretty much stuck you in there while lying all the whole time that you've been in there and doing nothing to fix the problems. It's old and tired, man. It's old and freaking tired, okay? If you want to do something different, go in there and fix things. Be, the person going in there with your ass on fire and you want to fix things and make stuff work and this, that, and the other thing. But you know what? If you're just going there and then doing just your standard crap of blaming those guys and those guys blaming you and everybody basically going to the back room and high-fiving one another and not fixing the problem, you are not the solution. The solution is kicking all you a-holes out of office and starting with a clean slate. And I know there's going to be those guys going, well, there is some good ones in there. Well, let me ask you a stupid question. If you have a room full of rapists and there's the three people and they're going, hey, you shouldn't be raping people, but I can't stop you because there's not a large enough number for me. You're not fixing the problem, okay? And also the other thing, too, is also, I love these conspiracy theorist guys going, well, we completely knuckled under and we became a socialist nation by staying at home and wearing a mask. It's like, yeah, but here's the thing. That is a one-trick pony. That is only going to work one time. One time. And once the realization comes into play that these guys are so full of crap and a lot of the lies that they posited over this COVID thing truly are what they are. And if nothing else, there's been so much bad information out there, and there's other stuff going out there too. Like, there's Wuhan lab, is where it probably came from. Well, the market that supposedly the people got contaminated stuff from was only 3 miles away, 5 kilometers, 3 miles away. Do you think that's by coincidence in a nation that's like 1.2, 1.3 billion in a country the size of China? 3 miles away? And that's the only level 4 lab in all of China? Yeah, okay. Well, that stuff just happened by accident. Oops. Nobody really meant for that to have happened. You know, it just got out. And the other thing, too, is also the Chinese are known to play fast and loose with security protocols and safety protocols. And they've definitely let a few things leak out that should never have leaked out. Level 4. Let me break it down to you. Level 3 is highly infectious stuff. You're talking stuff that gets out. Pretty much everybody gets it easy, you know, smallpox and whatnot, you know, really, really nasty, evil stuff. Level 4 is extinction level event items. Okay. So if COVID got out and it's just a little flea fart of a virus, just imagine the crap that they got in there that they're going, oh crap, don't let this out. Or, oh crap, that guy just got contaminated. When he finishes dying, we'll just, you know, encase him in this, you know, lead box and bury him underneath someplace. Incompetent people with bad juju and highly evil, nasty stuff are not to be trusted. And the Chinese, they are not the guys to be playing with stuff like that. That's like giving the 5-year-olds nuclear weapons and going, okay, you know, don't push that button. And you see Baby Groot going, it's like, no, not that button. That button, okay? Push that button to turn the light on. I am Groot. No, I just told you not to, okay? Don't push that button. They're going right now, and it's not a good thing. The other thing, too, is also, you know, mask technology. A mask is not intended to keep everybody else from catching your crap because they're wearing a mask to stop the viruses, okay? That's like trying to stop mosquitoes with a chain link fence. It doesn't happen. What the mask does is it stops you from going and spraying all your bougies all over everybody. That's why they wear masks in surgical wards. It keeps them from putting their stuff into the patient. You don't want to get the patient sick, so you stop the stuff from going into the patient. You wear a mask. If you see a doctor wearing a spray shield, there's a reason why. I'll put it in perspective. When doctors deliver a child, they don't wear just a mask, okay? They wear a mask and they wear a spray shield because things get messy when you're popping a kid out of baby maker. And I do mean it gets messy. I'll be kind of say there's a lot of particles. there's a lot of particles and droplets flying around. And that's being very, very, very polite, politically correct about as much as I can be. Let's just say it's messy. It's very, very messy. And that's the reason why they're wearing the face shields. If they're in a situation where they're working on an abscess or something and they're like, you know, poking on it and basically it's really, really, you know, inflated full of, you know, all kinds of yummies, they don't just put on a mask. They put a mask on and a face shield because they know potentially something is going to go and it's not going to be like the scene in Alien. You're going to see crap flying everywhere. And it's not like you see it coming at you and you put your hand up and stop it. By the time it's hit you in the face, it's too late. You're already infected. So anyway, this whole thing about the, you know, the masks and protecting yourself, this mask versus that mask, all this other stuff. The masks do not protect you. The masks, okay? Understand it for what it is. If you want to have protection from everybody else and all their bougies and all the other infectious agents and all the planet and everything, you may as well put yourself in a giant Ziploc bag and have completely filtered air because that is the only way you're going to be protected and or safe. Now, that's the other thing, too, is also, you've ever seen those guys wearing the suits, the yellow suits with the clear face mask, basically look like they're minions inside the laboratories? Those are not just suits. Those are suits that are, quote unquote, positive pressure suits. You can't get something in when air is blowing out. That's the way those suits work. You have air pressure blowing out. So nothing can go in, it gets blown away. Also notice when they go in those things, the suit basically gets plugged into an air supply. They're jacked into the air supply. It's a filtered air that goes in. Obviously, there's an exhalation port for the air to go out. It's not going back in because it's positive air pressure. When those guys get done, they unhook the air. They basically hang a little hose up someplace, and they go walking over, and they take a shower, which is like a full, complete, and hardcore kill absolutely everything on the planet disinfectant before they proceed out and rip the suit open. One use with those suits. It goes into a 55-gallon drum and gets burned. Talking about standing on Alcatraz with 2 flares. Yes, absolutely. Green spheres, man. We're talking green spheres and the clinkety clink, clink, clink. Yeah, Nicolas Cage green spheres. Yeah, bad stuff. Yeah. But the other thing, too, is also you have to understand, anytime you set fire to something and you burn it, there's a potential for the stuff to get out. So it's not like I'm saying burn, okay? I mean, they're putting that thing into an actual incinerator where it's like several thousand degrees, and there is no chance for anything surviving that, okay? There is nothing organic on the planet that can survive a couple thousand degrees being woofed. You throw it in the campfire, dump on some gasoline, and just... No, that's not going to happen, okay? You basically want to kill something. You're talking something in the flame of the fire. You're not talking something like you just basically dump gasoline on it, because gasoline is not a really hot fire. It's the actual contained fire of like an incinerator. That's what you need to kill those bougies. And the other thing, too, is also you want to make double damn sure that they are absolutely dead. You do not want them coming back to haunt you later on. And that is like the hardcore technology those guys deal with in just the laboratory. Now, I remember having a conversation with somebody on Facebook, and they're like, well, this, that, and the other thing, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, let's just put this in perspective, okay? If you want to get completely like safe and decontaminated and whatnot, here's how it works. Number one, you have a full face enclosure with everything. So you basically have no way of getting this stuff into any of your orifices, or you absorbing it, or, you basically inhaling it in any way, shape, or form. And that's not going to happen with just a mask or a helmet or something. You would need to have a full body suit. So basically you get yourself zip-locked and you go out and what have you. You get fully decontaminated when you go back to your house. You take all your clothes off. You can strip naked. You can decontaminate yourself again. Anything coming into your house has to be decontaminated before it comes into your house. And, oh, yeah, as soon as you open your front door, you just got contaminated. The only way you stop those things from coming into a place is you have positive pressure blowing everything away and not allowing it to come in. Folks, I got bad news for you. The body weight of every human body, 6 pounds of you, is viruses and bougies and other stuff. We came from viruses, okay? That's literally our genetic basing, is we are actually from viral tech. We built up from that. We became cells. We became basically big enough to become good enough to be our own little things. And, it's one of those long drawn out things. But we have 6 pounds of viruses on board every human body. 6-7 billion? You're talking scads of viruses. Never mind the fact that the viral load for every square inch of air is like a bunch. Your body's constantly fighting these things. That's why you got really good immunity, because if you didn't, you would walk outside and go, this is great. 2 days later, you'd be laying on the ground going, doing the funky chicken, melting into the ground. Okay? The technology of it is as such. You basically keep your hands as clean as possible. You don't touch your face, and you essentially don't lip kiss some scrabby looking person that basically might have the bougies. Problem solved, okay? The COVID virus is not a very good virus, okay? I'm going to put it in perspective here. They say AIDS is a 2. The COVID virus is like a 4. There's better viruses out there, okay? The AIDS virus, ask anybody in the business, is not a very good virus. You got to do some very stupid specific stuff to actually catch AIDS. Or you have to be very, very unlucky to get it in your bloodstream because you just got blood products from somebody else. And you also have to be unlucky enough to actually be one of those persons that can actually not fight it off. It's not exactly the best virus out there. And of course, chloroquine is actually a very good fighter to it. There's other stuff out there. I was just telling Mrs. Dude, there's other things you can do. You can build up your immunity. So, you can definitely fight these things off. There's no reason in the world why you need to, deal with all this crap. I mean, there's another one out there that's called, hang on a second, let me find the stuff again. It is called Quercetin, Quercetin. And what this stuff does is essentially it interacts with all the viral guys, and basically it makes their life suck, really. And it's one of these things that's OTC. You can buy it. It's on Amazon. It's all over the place. It's seen as as something that supports healthy aging and well-being, blah 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 blah. All the rest of happy horse stuff. It's pretty cheap. And the other thing you can do too is also, if you happen to be a fan of gin and tonic water contains quinine. Quinine is a base element that happens to be in chloroquine. Hey, so if you're drinking quinine water and you're taking supplements, or you're keeping your body healthy, or you're taking D vitamins, D, like D. Let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, this one's good too. Yep, D, C. Yeah, anything that really bumps up and is good for your immune system. E, A. Any of these things that you're taking, and I actually do take, a lot of vitamins. Of course, after doing the heart thing, I'm trying to stay somewhat healthy. But all those vitamins that like pump up and they work for your immune system. If you got a strong immune system, you make yourself less likely for the bougie to go, oh, this place is awesome. Kind of come in there and take over the place. Have a good immune system. Take the supplements. Even if the doctors say, well, you're just making the fish healthy. Okay, well, let me ask you a stupid question. If this thing didn't work for me and didn't give me some good amount of assistance, the holistic medicine stuff, if that didn't work, would you still encourage me to not use it? Because if I'm using this, am I going to be seeing you as frequently? Think logically. The car salesman. Oh no, you want to buy the Honda or the Toyota because it's so much better than the Kia. Oh darn, you only just bought one of those. You're not going to be back for 10 years. Yeah, buy the Kia. It only lasts for 3. See if what it is. Okay. Let's see. Anybody else saying anything in the chat room? No, we're looking at standard stuff here. All right, folks. I think I'm going to break off with this one. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I again apologize for not having the stuff last week. Oops. I mean, that's really all I got, man. It's just oops. Yeah, that was kind of a major mess up on my part. And I just get a gold star for 10. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I mean, you got many other things to do, but you hung out with me on a Tuesday, and I appreciate your kind attention. Do be sure to check out Around the Cabin, aroundthecabin.com, aroundthecabin.com/campfire for the live shows. Of course, Around the Cabin news, Around the Cabin school self-reliance, Around the Cabin food, Around the Cabin buy, sell, and trade, Around the Cabin medicinal cannabis, and Around the Garden's Gate. Bam! Got them all. Find me on Twitter as 80spcc. Find me, of course, on you see me on YouTube now as 80s Podcast Channel. Find me sometime on Facebook again. I think it's 11 days. 11 days I'm back on Facebook, and be looking probably at another 30 and I'll do something. They'll find some old picture and go, hey, we didn't like that picture. Yeah, you didn't like that picture, but it was fine when I put it up until you have something to hold over me. Yeah, butt bungs. All right, so I'm going to break up this, folks. I appreciate your kind attention. Like I usually say, eat good, keep it centering as always. You love it. And you got many other places to go, but you decided to hang out with me, and I appreciate your kind attentions. Catch you guys next week, and have a good one. See you guys. Oh, come on, mouse, wake up. It always does this to me. See you guys.